that's going to be passing there primarily south of town where it is heaviest. We do have some stronger thunderstorms down in central Mississippi that we are watching as well. And then the opposite end of the spectrum, showing up in Iuka where it's mostly clear. I say the opposite end, that heat index that feels like temperature almost the same, 91 on our Farmers and Merchants bank camera, which of course we had a lot more thunderstorms up there last night at this time. So obviously storms in some form or fashion, a part of what we're tracking here tonight at 6 o'clock. The other thing, again, going with that has been the heat. And of course, those storms remain very, very spotty where they have an impact. And there is a little bit of a severe threat with some of those. Okay, where's the relief, Manner? We'll talk to Gabe about that here in a minute. It's almost like man. Okay, that was maybe a stretch there. And as we look in Mississippi Live News, Old School News School, our Emily Leonard, of course, with an update on that.
So an elementary school, an old elementary school in Corinth, is getting some new life breathed into it. They are creating a career and technology center in that old elementary school, and they're going to be able to have more flexibility in what they put in there depending on the industry needs in the area. So we'll talk about that. Also talk about a job fair that is happening right now in Tupelo for those who may be looking for a job. Matt?
Oh, that's always important. Of course, jobs an important thing that we think, of course, matters to communities. And anytime you can upgrade those, unless you're Gabe Maynor, who's going to stay here forever. Please, God, Gabe, I'll keep paying you. I promise. Yeah, he's doing this in the background. No upgrade needed, right? We'll keep you on here and keep me straightened out. Hour by hour forecast as we go into this evening. 87 on the average there at 7 o'clock. Again, that's not the heat index. The heat index still adding 10 to that. 79 at 10, 75 by 1 o'clock in the morning, and then mid-70s by early tomorrow. Wide shot here has the overall perspective, and that is the fact that it remains hot and steamy all across the region. Something that will likely continue as we go into the next couple of days. We're watching a front that, of course, has tried to limit some of the instability. And south of that front, storms have become a little stronger, including one thunderstorm down in central Mississippi that's now prompted a severe thunderstorm warning. Coming back over to Mama Justice Doppler radar, we're looking at that storm there that's between Equipment and Bay Springs there and around Heidelberg, Clark, as well as parts of Jasper County, again, under that severe thunderstorm warning until 6:30. That's just slightly south of our area. No tornado threat with any of these. Heavy rainfall, honestly, the biggest impact that some of us could see. For our Max South viewers up here around Decatur and their northeast of Meridian, those storms popping up, not much lightning in those, but that is a different story with what's clearly our strongest storm up here south of Sugarlock. This one showing, again, tons of cloud to ground lightning with that kind of moving from the northeast to the southwest. All the zigzags, of course, the lightning strikes. And on this one small shot here, we have about 400 strikes in the last hour out of these storms. That is about half of what we had last night when they were solidly severe. Checking our hail swath with True Shield Roofing. I'll pop off that lightning for just a moment. A couple spots where we have shown back when it was closer to Meshulaville, maybe a little bit of hail out of this, but I think pea-size hail be as big as we have. Did get one report back for the Bethedon area from someone saying they had some of that earlier on. The wind mode here on Mama Justice Doppler does not have nearly the bright greens and reds that we had last night, where we had a significant wind damage that occurred for a lot of spots. That has luckily not been the case as far as tonight has been concerned. Outside of those storms, let's go ahead and track these here toward the south and east. Speed is a lot slower than last night as well, only around 20 miles per hour. I'll kind of swing around that there. And so at about 20 miles per hour, we go to Calix at about 6:07. We're looking for Bloomfield there at 6:10. DeKalb about 6:22. Look towards Sledge there at 6:32, and around the Annandale area by about 6:58. Wider shot on these storms. Again, as we slide this kind of on the wide area, not much really out there of significance at this time. The severe weather threat for today does remain really the southern fringe of our area. I show a level 1 out of 5 threat, which technically we were yesterday, and we overdid it based on the number of reports we had, even though we really had one storm that consistently produced them. That should have been at least a level 2 risk yesterday. So we kind of were undershot on that with the Storm Prediction Center there. all the lightning, all the more significant quantity of storms down into South Alabama and the Florida Panhandle. Our friends at Panhandle Weather tracking those this evening. The risk for tomorrow does shift up northward into Tennessee. We do expect multiple chances, multiple opportunities for maybe a complex of thunderstorm to get close to the Tennessee state line, but largely staying north of us for tomorrow, but it's close enough to certainly bear some monitoring. And then it's way, way, way to the north as we look toward your Thursday. So going forward here, as we check out again, the high pressure area, that's what's trying to push in that marginally less humid air for a couple of spots, but it's not something that will be long lasting. Beyond tomorrow, we expect, again, to probably have the heat build because we're on the south side of this red line, which represents our warm front here, and that unstable air again continuing to move in from the south. So as we go overnight, most of those storms out of here. Still possibility to get a couple over the next couple of hours, but most of the overnight period not expecting much with just kind of a mix of cloud cover. But if you look up to the north, up there into Tennessee, there's the first of those chances of storms that could arrive by tomorrow evening and tomorrow. I think we could have, again, multiple chances early in the day, again, right up there, northern Alcorn, Tishomingo County, about as close as those are getting. But I think better chance to possibly see some scattered showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. I'm not as convinced that they will be strong, but a few wind gusts are possible. Anytime you're 99, we have, again, a lot of heating out there and enough moisture to bubble up. And anything that goes up when it comes collapsing back down will have some gusty wind with it. And certainly, if we can get them going tall enough, that remains the case again for tomorrow. We're looking ahead at that with our future cast coming up here in a couple of minutes. We're also looking ahead at when this heat could break. Gabe and I are going to have a little debate on that ahead. But 60 seconds from now, we're going to have news with our Emily Leonard on Mississippi Live News. You're watching Mississippi Live at 6. We'll be right back.
Looking for a place to finally call home? At Tupelo Home Center, we make it easy. From finding the perfect home to making financing a breeze, we'll take care of everything. Your new home is closer than you think. Pre-qualify today at TupeloHomeCenter.com.
Half off all furniture, motion, and mattresses.
Plus another extra 10% off.
And 20% off accessories.
And 4 years special financing.
I need to lie down.
Labor Day savings that'll leave you speechless at room to room.
I have been going to Tupelo Smiles my whole life. When I was a kid, I was unhappy about some uneven coloring on my teeth after getting my braces off, which at the time there really wasn't a fix. I was recently made aware of a solution that would totally fix it, which is exactly what we did. They not only heard my concerns, but they never stopped looking to solve my problem, and that's why I love Tupelo Smiles.
Hello, everyone. Good evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us here on Mississippi Live. I'm Emily Leonard. What's old can be new again. Corinth's Old East Elementary is becoming a career and tech center. The school board approved plans Thursday for the C-Tech facility, the next phase of a long-planned project moving toward bidding. Classrooms will house programs like culinary, law, public safety, robotics, and unmanned aircraft. Superintendent John Barnett says flexibility is the priority so the rooms can adapt if the industry needs change. The board also approved a no-cost change at Warrior Stadium, finally directing water away from the visitor concessions area. Do you need a job? I know a lot of you do. Well, Ashley Furniture is hiring, and they are holding a job fair this week. These are for positions in Ecru, Saltillo, and Verona. Walk-ins are welcome with same-day interviews and on-the-spot job offers. All you have to do is bring a valid ID and your Social Security card. The job fair will be in Tupelo at the Renaissance Center for Ideas on East Main Street. They'll be there Wednesday and Thursday from 8:30 in the morning to 4. Cannot wait to say this. It's alive! Tupelo Community Theater kicks off its 58th season with Young Frankenstein, the Mel Brooks comedy and musical. Show runs Thursday through Saturday. The shows will be at 7 at the Lyric. There's also a matinee on Saturday afternoon at 2. Director Christy Hewen says the entire set is done in grayscale, a black and white visual effect that she's had in mind for a while. And her husband, Dr. Jeff Hewen, is also directing with her. So I guess by day, dermatologist, by night, director? I love it. Star Victor McMillan says this is his first time in a pure comedy musical, calling the show ridiculous, silly stuff. It could be worse. It could be raining. Tickets are available online, and true Young Frankenstein fans will understand my references. Thank you so much for making us your choice for news. For Mississippi Live, I'm Emily Leonard. Reserve your St. Jude Dream Home giveaway ticket by August 28th, and you'll be eligible to win the house and the bonus prize, a 2026 Polaris Ranger, courtesy of Dream Day Foundation. Visit dreamhome.org or call to reserve your ticket today.
Growing up in a farming community, I've always been fascinated with the weather. But in 2024, my draw to be a mother became stronger.
So I took a step back from my job until Matt gave me a call. Mississippi Live allows me to be fully present at home while also getting to do my dream job as a broadcast meteorologist.
Wake up with me every weekday morning on Mississippi Live.
Friday, August 21st, don't miss the Tupelo Super Show benefiting St. Jude, featuring the legends of Memphis Wrestling. Reserve your seat right now at memphiswrestling.tv.
This portion of Mississippi Live weather is presented by Little's Jewelers.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's Mississippi's chief meteorologist, Matt Laubhan.
A little bit of cloud cover, but it's not really helping a whole lot there in Greenville. You're watching Mississippi Live here at 6. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Laupon. Clarksdale showing up about 106 now as well for that heat index. Just miserably hot out there this afternoon. Looking toward the horizon again, some of those high, thin clouds with some storms out there into Arkansas. Of course, going back deeper into the eastern part of the state and down in Aberdeen, where, of course, we were tracking some thunderstorms last night. It's a mix of clouds and still coming in around 106 for that yucky feels like temperature. Aberdeen, again, looking like that. Philadelphia, we're 88. Feels like 93 for some rain-cooled air nearby from some of the showers that we have had. And sliding out the Mape, we can kind of finish out our tour of cameras here across North Mississippi. Mabin coming in at 84 at that most recent update there. Must have some of that rain-cooled air from some of the showers. We've had a couple of those around. Storms on the downswing here. Watch this 1 hour loop. I'll kind of widen it just a little bit more. 369 lightning strikes as of this point in time here. Did get those numbers up about 400, 450 or so. So they're coming down just a little bit more. These storms kind of collapse a little bit, moving toward the south and east. Still could kick out again some heavier rainfall with a few of those. There's that one storm we talked about closer to Philadelphia, and a couple down toward around Decatur and the northeast there of Meridian. It's nothing but, again, drier conditions up north. We did have a few showers there around Bruce earlier on. Those have all kind of fallen apart in the last little bit here as the storms have taken a little bit of a downswing. And we do expect, again, most of us are probably not going to see a whole lot this evening. And honestly, next couple of days, not expected to see a ton as well. Even toward the weekend, I think rain chances, not impossible to see a few of those there this upcoming weekend, but I think we're going to still be fairly hot, if maybe not as extreme as what we have been of late. Looking at those rain chances, they do come down a bit more. One of our most limited chances probably by Sunday, where at this point we're going maybe less than 10% on the rain chances there. But I think a lot of us still missing out as drought conditions, unfortunately, remain one of the big headlines, despite some of the rainfall that we had yesterday. So the wide shot here, mainly bugs, and in some cases, marginally cooler temperatures that we have. Not impossible to get maybe one report of some wind gusts out there this evening, but not expecting a ton. As you can see on Futurecast here, latest updated version, again, has those storms as they progress toward the south and east, continuing to weaken just a little bit more. That's an interesting shot. It's like we've locked up on the latest one there. So give me just a moment to see if I can force it to ingest a different run of that, because that's not doing anybody any good. Latest survey says, oh, that made it very unhappy. So let's just go to the 18Z then, which this I think is going to be a little off on its positioning. 18Z. There we are. Actually, that's not bad on where it has it right now. So let's just save that there. Sorry about that. Sometimes when you have it set for the newest data to come in, it doesn't like it as much when it's coming in. I will say that I think the newer data was better on its positioning, despite the fact that it wasn't moving. It's a lot closer to where I think things will be by 7 to 8 o'clock. I think this is probably a little too far back to the north and east. You'll note, or north and west, I should say, and then all into Alabama probably within the next hour or so. So again, I think this is a little bit slow there. Most of the storms, again, anything out into Arkansas does not make it here into North Mississippi, as we should spend most of the overnight period dry. Looking toward tomorrow morning, low temperatures down to about 73 in Senatobia and Water Valley. This is about as cool as we're going to get for the next few days, as we have, again, some slightly less humid air moving in from the north and east, and that makes the impact there to keep it a little cooler to begin the day. So from 73 at pickup, 99 degrees for drop-off on your Wednesday. Appreciate IMPC, again, our school bus forecast sponsor here on Mississippi Live. And that 99 for the kids, maybe going to that school bus there. I'll go back here for just a second. You know, obviously that's really, really hot. Just light color clothing and light fitting clothing. Those two things make a big difference. I say that because, again, for my kids, they don't listen to that. But good luck, parents, on trying to enforce that. As you can see, those heat alerts remain significant into your Wednesday again for all locations once again. But that front, as that retreats back to the north, heat continues to build, winds out of the west. Not much activity showing up there through around noontime, but you do see a couple little showers and storms up near the Tennessee state line. Coming in slightly closer on those. You can see it's kind of part of a complex of storms that'll be up there into Tennessee. And this is where I say maybe it just clips the far northern portion of the state. Our futurecast a little more aggressive on how far south it brings a few of those isolated storms, continuing to kind of regenerate some of those into your Wednesday afternoon. And that's where there's that possibility there, I think, going into Wednesday evening to have a few as they collapse that could potentially produce a rogue strong wind gust or two. High temperatures, we'll talk about in a moment, but there's that severe weather risk. Again, mainly up into Tennessee. It does get to level 2, but that stays to the north of us. So high temperatures into around the 100-degree point for tomorrow. This is hot enough that if we get just the right amount of moisture in the right spot with that, it's going to bubble up and produce a couple of stronger thunderstorms there. Heat indices, future heat indices, 108 in the Tupelo and Amory areas. 110 there in Eupora, 107 in Senatobia, and 112 in Clarksdale, 111 in the Cleveland area. So obviously in the Delta, where it is the most miserably significant. Part of why our risk area is slightly greater for storms up to the north of us tomorrow is because of the opportunity. Again, another kind of batch into the evening possible. So maybe something popping up down here in Mississippi is just a lesser opportunity. That's part of what could limit that somewhat more. On the wider shot here, you can see up there closer to Jackson, Tennessee, some of those storms do continue into the evening and later on into your Thursday in the morning time period. So, I mean, maybe some that could impact your morning commute up near the Tennessee state line early Thursday. So Thursday, those temperatures have now spiked up a bit more, upper 70s, lower 80s in the Delta, mid 70s kind of for the rest of us. So way above our normal for this time of the year. Here's some of those isolated showers, again, trying to come in, those ahead of a front. Now that front is maybe a fool's front because it's not going to have much in the way of cooler air with it, but it does nudge deep enough in to produce a few isolated showers here through midday and possibly in the afternoon. On the wider shot, you can see some of these down here toward Meridian. Again, a possibility for few gusty winds, most 30, 40 miles per hour, and closer to this front, 4 to 5 o'clock, a greater number of those starting to develop on your Thursday evening. We'll track that in Thursday evening here in just a moment. But highs on Thursday, middle 90s to near 100, maybe marginally cooler because of that front near the Tennessee state line. So at least a little bit of an improvement far to the north and east. That heat index around 100, maybe not quite high enough to get all the way to heat advisory levels for a couple spots. That would be great, but for a lot of us, that's not going to be the case. And then these storms, see how we have more of them by Thursday evening here? Again, a pretty aggressive look at how this could play out with our strike model. I'll bring Gabe in on this in a minute. But what we do notice here, very few of these getting into the darker reds. One of the signs that most of these storms should stay below severe limits, but a couple of them do get a little heavier. Our meteorologist Gabe Maynor, again, as we're looking ahead at this forecast for Friday, I'm not impressed necessarily for late Thursday evening and early Friday, but that looked like at least a greater quantity than what we had on the 7-day. And I know strike sometimes is a little aggressive. Is it that combination of we just have some heating, some lift, and just enough moisture that the model's going a little nuts? Because that's about as heavy as any day that we've seen recently.
You're right, but I will say, yes, the strike a little bit ambitious, hopeful, and I wouldn't mind it at all if that were the case. But, you know, talking about some of our long-range models and some of the short-range models, all of which are projecting Thursday night into your Friday morning to be the heaviest compared to our entire 7-day forecast, and that does include some of what we experienced yesterday. So that's our best likelihood to see some of those rain chances, but I will say I think we're overdoing the coverage. I don't think we're underdoing the potential of seeing rainfall. I do feel pretty good about, I'm going to say the bulk of us at least getting some chances there, but that doesn't mean everybody sees those chances as it is still pretty spotty.
Okay, I appreciate that, Gabe. Here's hoping, because I don't know about you, but I could use a lot more water at my house. And it does not look like a lot of those are severe, hopefully. So looking here for Friday morning, again, showers, few spots there overnight, but just kind of leftover cloud cover by early Friday, and low temperatures lower to maybe mid 70s. So just slightly improved from what they'll be Thursday morning there. And a few spotty showers here for early Friday, showing up from Columbus back out here toward Macon. As long as this front's kind of overhead, we'll have a few isolated showers. I just like the fact, though, look at this. I see some northerly winds depicted here on strike. So I'm just going to 100% buy that just because that's what I want to see. Meteorology, we call that wish casting. We're going to wish that forecast is correct there. But some of these storms down here toward Yazoo City, that one a little heavier. Louisville as well. South of this front, the air will be a little more unstable. And so that's probably the locations where we're most likely to see some impacts there. High temperatures on your Friday. You'll notice there's still probably middle to upper 90s for a lot of spots. Delta, again, hottest out here, 97 Clarksdale, 97 for Cleveland, 100 there for Greenville. But we have a couple 80s showing up in the far northeast corner of the state, and the heat indices there still around the 100-degree point, maybe some upper 90s, so some improvement versus obviously where we're the hottest down here, Cleveland, Greenville, back toward Belzona. So improvement always has to be tempered with the reality this time of year. But notice how that low temperature by Saturday morning's low 70s, that's slightly less humid air. And that means maybe we're low 100s again for those heat indices for Saturday and Sunday. Maybe we keep most of those rain chances south of us if that's the case. That's at least the hope in this scenario here. But let's talk not necessarily wish casting, but true forecasting with our meteorologist, Gabe Maynor. We're going to be looking here in 60 seconds at what the long range kind of looks like for some of those temperatures. False alarm for Emily, who's waiting on me to wrap up here behind the scenes. You're watching Mississippi Live at 6. We'll be right back.
In 1998, we needed help with the loan. A friend of ours had been using First Choice Bank. First Choice has been helping us ever since.
We just love the service. The tellers are wonderful. They know our names. Why would we want to bank anywhere else?
For years, it's been the same formula. If it bleeds, it leads. You deserve better. We are Mississippi Live. We're focused on the stories that matter to you, to your community, to your family, because local matters. We are Mississippi Live.
As a bankruptcy firm, Mitchell, Cunningham & Bowling realizes many people are worried about their finances. We're here to guide you through the next steps to restart your life with easy video appointments. New clients don't have to leave home to get information about becoming debt-free. Also, convenient in-office appointments are available at the low cost of $340 upfront for a Chapter 13. You can be on your way to being debt-free. Contact Mitchell, Cunningham & Bowling today or visit our website at mcdebtfree.com. We are here to help you.
Okay, so improvement. At this time, that's all we can hope for. So when will it get here? Gabe is our man. He's looking at fuel, and in this case, not necessarily fuel for thunderstorms, which it is, but the absence of fuel is the hope for some improvement.
Exactly. You know, we often talk about dew points being that measure of moisture, but also that fuel for these thunderstorms to get going. So any downgrade in the fuel, that's an upgrade in how it feels outside. So as we approach our Thursday, again, during the afternoon hours, we see a peak in that fuel once again. That's going to allow for some of that thunderstorm development during the afternoon hours, seeing that clear out overnight, and then additional chances there by Friday, especially if that stationary front remains overhead. But then things get good. Good for us is what I'm talking about. And looking into our Saturday, while yes, there is some minimal fuel there, we're still August 22nd. That's middle of summer. We're still what, 30, 31 days away from fall? And even then, Mississippi likes to stretch out summer just a bit. So fuel is going to be there, but the fact we're not talking about those bright yellows means that fuel is coming down. That means moisture is coming down, and that means the feels like values are following suit. If we expand things out, and Matt, if you want to run this here behind the scenes, kind of putting a broader picture there, you can see how we do have a trough that's moving overhead as well, and that's going to be that cold front that eventually works its way into the Mississippi area and through the southeast. And look at the cooler northern breeze that's moving in behind this front. That's going to be what we get to enjoy, not just for our Saturday, but even moving into our Sunday as those northerly breezes remain overhead and the dry atmosphere. I mean, look at the absence of fuel we're talking about on Sunday. That's going to be fantastic.
Okay, so we were looking at the day by day on that forecast. That's legitimately maybe goose egg on the rainfall chances there on Sunday. That is scoured moisture.
Yeah, you know, we were talking yesterday about it's a bold choice to put 0 on the percentage for summer afternoon thunderstorms. But Sunday, it's been pretty consistent on all of our long track models that the rain chances remain pretty much minimal to non-existent Sunday, carrying over into Monday with some minimal chances there. But even then, not necessarily sold on this specific model that that's going to develop. But eventually, we do get some of that fuel returning by Tuesday and as well into our Wednesday with those spotty rain chances returning. But I mean, hey, a 3-day stretch where the moisture's kind of moved out and it feels like values aren't necessarily talking heat advisory or above, we'll take that for sure. And that's going to be the case even into the latter part of next week. So this Friday night, football back in the area, going to be a little bit hot and sweaty. But next week, hey, there's hope that that's going to be a bearable Friday for sure.
Absolutely. And again, looking forward to a Jamboree week here as we're kind of gearing up toward what will be our football season and coverage, game of the week, and that sort of stuff as we're kind of dusting off some ideas here that hopefully we'll be able to work on as we go forward. And like, subscribe, follow iOS, Android devices. Friday nights, always excited for those. I know Gabe is just absolutely lit on fire, ready to go.
I'm so excited.
I know. Patience, young Padawan. We will get there as well. Appreciate that, Gabe. Let's check in with our Emily Leonard, who is looking at Mississippi Live News coming up tonight here at 9 and 10. And again, do we have more road stories? No, you love road stories. What else do we have coming up tonight?
I don't think I have any more road stories, but I do have more job stories, and I love those as well. More jobs coming to Boonville with another business expansion. I don't think we'll ever get tired of talking about this because it means more economic growth, more jobs, all good stuff. That's coming up at 9, and a little bit later on tonight, we're also going to be telling you who are this year's recipients. There's 2 for the Red Raspberry Humanitarian Award, and this duo, they deserve it. That's all I'm going to say. So you'll have to tune in a little bit later on for that.
Okay, looking forward to that. That's a good tease. Again, every year recognizing the folks at the Regional Rehabilitation Center, the folks in the community that make a real big difference. So we're excited to hear that one. Look for that tonight at 10. Okay, appreciate that, Emily. Anything else you want to add before we wrap things up?
My brain is just mush today. It's like it's Monday, but it is not Monday. I'm trying to think of what else I have, but you know what? Oh, glamping. We're going to talk about glamping a little later on today, too.
Okay.
Local glamping.
Okay. Local glamping. What? See?
I got good stuff going on today.
You do. See, but the problem is now you made me push you each time and be like, so what else you got? And you'll come up with something good. So I'm looking forward to glamping. Again, you can share.